And I was like, wait, what? Because I had no idea it was that cool, And then I was like, oh, this is great. I love this. If I get clients in this thing, I'm gonna rock. So the name of my umbrella company is CostaZul Capital, COSTAZUL, and I do both. I have an NMLS number. I'm licensed in 15 states for owner occupied res, and then I branched out into the DSCR space, non-owner occupied, and formed a sort of a secondary arm to do a commercial. And it was a little bit of a learning curve there, and ran into Relip, and it was just a pleasant surprise how there was like I guess you'd call it a vertical integration from client to application. You don't really find in brokerages, and anyone that's been that's a broker knows there's 15 different platforms and this and that, so it's real complicated. And the simplicity lets you talk to people quickly, directly. They're business people, you're a business person, and that's there's a nice relationship that you can build there, a nice synergy. So
Fantastic. That's awesome.
everything from soup to nuts. So you got you have your intake, you've got your advertising's handled for you. The clients show up, they have the ability to do an application with or without you. The AI works when you're not working, and then it's a frictionless experience because you can see what they've entered. And it's like any it's not like any call center, but it is like a call center in that you get a lot of people that just are kicking tires or whatever. But then out of the 5 or 6 people that are kicking tires, you get the serious one, and then then it's game on, and they're looking around, and it's an platform to get them information right away and to establish the fact that you can close the deal.
Yeah.
You've got a term sheet in seconds, and then for your own information, it's helpful to the conversation that you can show a term sheet and a deal evaluator, and you can show them visually what they're looking at, and whether it's an issue with price that you have to adjust, it can be done quickly, and it's just a nice simple system to work with. That it simplifies a complicated process because there's a lot of variables in real estate. So I was really surprised that it was that easy to intake, to qualify, to close, to work the CRM. And I'm still learning a little bit, but it's a much simpler process than your average brokerage where you don't know who your underwriter is, you don't know who your processor is. You got to bring different people in, and they have lives, they're on vacation, they might be gone for 3 days or whatever. But there's a continuous communication through the chat about the loan file, and once you get used to the process, it's pretty fun and pretty refreshing to use. Compared to others, I'd say. What you were doing, it was such a relief, really. I can just rely on that and not, worry about my CRM and my marketing and my ads and all that stuff coming in. Just basically you focus on the deals coming in. You can still go in and talk to you guys about the ads and where they're coming from and how much you're spending and that sort of thing. And all of a sudden I could say yes to a lot of people that I didn't know what the answer was before. I'm like, yeah, you want it? I'll send you a term sheet and it'll be there in 3 minutes. What's the property? So it changed the way I could talk to people that were kicking tires that I knew outside of their marketing. It just made me a commercial, broker. I think, full fledged from residential.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of weeks ago, a couple of Sundays ago, I don't know what the deal was, if it was the moon or something, but all of a sudden I just got tons of leads, tons of applications. And I think you said that the way the advertising works, it learns and it adjusts to what you do and what you respond to. So it just kind of came together, and people were like, yeah, let's here's my deal. I got to close it. Nobody else can close it. It's 21 million. So
even better. Yeah.
Some of those are doubles, but because I have to re-quote something or it's a draft. But I would say out of that, I'm probably going to close 10% of it, in the next 30 to 60 days. So, I mean, that's my goal. That's what I try to do, 3-4 million a month if I can.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that brings actually in regards to pipeline closings, origination, everything.
Right now I'm, it's looking like it's at least half of my business. So I wouldn't be too surprised because I'm going to boost the advertising budget up a little bit and really, go into it feet first. And I think it's going to be a pretty big part of my my business. You go with what's working. I think it was that. Remember that Sunday? It was 2 Sundays ago, and I just couldn't. I was getting all these applications, and I was kind of freaking out. Like I'm like, guys, I need like what's going on here? Like it took off, and I think that was the funnest day, and I wrote a ton of applications. We've closed one. Well, we got two more that are going to close probably within 2 weeks, and then I've got another. So five or six, yeah, 5 or 6 deals should close, in the first 3 months, and that's most of that's just happened from that one crazy Sunday where the advertising and the gears started clicking. So
Yep.
that was my funnest day. Give it a shot on your own and see how it goes. It's like I said, the upfront costs are, I think, they're really more just to make sure that you're serious about it, because they really, in the scheme of things, it's a marginal expense. It really is, compared to you write 2 loans, it doesn't exist. Your upfront costs don't exist, but it does make you focus and does make you want to get that money back. So I would say, give it a at least give it a college try. Give it 4 months. I think I was probably an exception. I got lucky and it kicked in. If you're looking to create a job for yourself and a career, it's pretty functional, pretty darn functional. You know, and it makes a lot of sense. If you try to do it on your own and then you work with something like this, a platform like this, it's real intuitive. It's real obvious once you look at the platform, if you've done any kind of this work before. So I think you're crazy if you don't do it. But more for me, if you don't do it, I'll just take all the business.